Welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris and I'm a gorilla in the wrist. Today it's time to do my second 1111 video, and people who have seen my videos before will probably know that I have a fairly strong held view that as much as I love a sale, and boy do I love a sale, I actually think there are plenty of watches that you can buy on AliExpress either during the sale or at any other time that still offer remarkable value for money. And I've got 5 of them here for you today. Well, technically 4. So today we're going to look at a Pagani design. We're looking at a Skami. We're looking at a Mystery. Coming back to that one in a minute. We've got an Addies Dive and a Corsair. And all of these are watches that I have purchased off AliExpress for less than 50 quid. And you can still buy them for less than 50 quid as well. So without any further ado, let's just go through all of them very, very quickly. So first up is the watch that I'm calling the Cerulean Smoke. It's the Skami 2901, homage to a Casio GA 2100, with a little bit of Nautilus thrown in for good measure. You can pick these up for less than 10 quid, has exactly the same functionality. In terms of size, it's got a just over a 44mm dial. It's 48mm lug to lug. It is slightly chunkier than the Casio at 13mm, but it's still not bad. It still wears particularly well, and has these slightly odd integrated bracelets with an 18mm lug width that then flares out before it flares back in again. It's on a fantastically silky smooth rubber strap. I'm not going to sit here stroking it because that just seems a bit weird. But for the money, I did a review on this fairly recently. For the money, this is an absolute no-brainer. The colour is spectacular, the functionality is great, and it costs bugger all. What are you waiting for? Get on and buy it. You'll be able to pick these up in the sale for less than 10 quid. You might get a few pence discount, I don't know. And if you do, by all means take it. But regardless of whether you get a discount or not, this one is a bit of a no-brainer. And it comes in many different colours. So if you're not partial to the cerulean blue, then there's green, there's black, there's every colour under the sun. Go and have a look, buy one. Next up is the Addies Dive MYH2. This is a pilot watch. It did come originally on a fairly passable bracelet, but actually I really fancied it on a proper pilot strap, so I put it on a proper pilot strap. In terms of size and dimensions, it's 37mm across the dial. It has a relatively compact 45mm lug to lug, so wears really well. In terms of thickness, it's a paltry 11mm, so wears very comfortably on the wrist, and has a fairly standard 20mm lug width, and has an NH35 movement in it. It has a flat sapphire crystal across the dial, which is really nice, and you can get all this for 40 quid. Looks very much in the style of a fairly standard pilot watch. Whether or not you like the logo, I think is really a personal thing. I don't actually mind it, but I think for some people it might be a bit off-putting. I would expect that you probably can buy a version which doesn't have the logo and the writing on it. But I picked this one up for about £37–38, and the last time I looked, and I'll put affiliate links in, it was still on there for £36–37. So again, comes with date complication, NH35 sapphire crystal, decent pilot's watch, another 5 quid to put a strap on it if you want, like I did, and job's a good one. So next up we have the Pagani Design PD1679. This is a 41mm Planet Ocean homage, with flat sapphire, well no, actually not flat sapphire crystal at all, it's a nice domed sapphire crystal. It has the NH35 movement, it has a ceramic bezel, which for those of you for OCD, I've just completely screwed the video up. Let's just get that right, and it's quite a snicky bezel movement as well, and I always overdo it. There we go, that's about it. No date complication on this one, but it has a really nice big crown and comes on a pretty decent sporty type, water sport type strap. Very comfortable, and upside down. I picked this one up for £39. I have reviewed it fairly recently. I looked today and you can get it for £37 today. And I have no earthly clue how they make any money out of these watches at all. So get one before they figure that out for themselves and put the price up to reflect the quality of the spec monster that is the Pagani Design PD1679. So next up is my Corsair Speedy. It's a model 3022. It's a 41mm Speedy homage. I've had this for a couple of whiles and I don't think I've ever reviewed it before, so it's probably due a full review. It's 41mm. It's really thin. I mean, I've stuck it on this canvas strap. Apparently I'm not allowed to call it NATO anymore. The watch itself has a Hardlex crystal rather than a sapphire crystal, which is a bit of a shame, but it does have the Seiko VK63 chronograph movement in it, which is reliable and timely, and I think it's a really good effort. I think Corsair is a really underrated brand, and I looked today, I think when I picked this one up it was on some strange cloth strap of some description, but you can pick them up today with a steel bracelet for about £42–43, and I suspect given how long these have been around, it wouldn't be a great surprise if in the 1111 you could possibly get them for a little bit cheaper. But really good, really clean functionality. Obviously no kudos for design because we all know what this is pretending to be, but really good, a really good effort, and it looks great on wrist. So for me, I think one that's worth considering, and even the finishing on this isn't that bad. There's brushing, there's silver polish in terms of the bezel. The only one downside for this one, I guess, is that it isn't a sapphire crystal. So that's something to bear in mind. But apart from that, this is one of the best Speedy homages on AliExpress. So give it due consideration. And finally, the mystery watch. So what I want to do is I'm going to give you a few options of watches at around about the £50 mark. I would like you to vote for them in the comments. I will then buy one during the sale. I will review it after the sale. So think very wisely about your choices. And so let's see what your choices are. So first of our options today is this Corsair Daytona homage. Comes in many colours and styles. Has a dial diameter about 39mm, so it's not going to wear huge, and probably fairly close to the watch that it's homaging. In terms of the colour schemes that you're likely to get, we'll quickly run through those. So there's some white and gold faux meteorite, I'm not so sure. The black is the classic, I really like that one. The gold one's not bad, the blue is very attractive. That one's okay, I quite like that one. And that one, and then the fairly standard silverish with black subdials. I think the black one is my favourite, although the blue's pretty good. In terms of specification, it's a 39mm. It only has Hardlex, which is a bit of a shame. And it's on, I think it's on the VK31 movement. No, colour me cynical, it's the VK63. So this one is a good, very smart looking sports watch, I guess I would say. It comes on a bracelet, so again at the price, which is around 40 quid, I think this is really good value. Does play in a little bit to what I was talking about as this being a brand that is drastically underrated. So that's the first choice. Second choice is this rather nice Pagani design. I love the colour, I like blue, I like the blue combination with the brown strap as well. So I think this one works really well. I don't have a lot of watches in my collection which have that fluted bezel. And this one has got the VH31 movement in it. It's a 40mm dial, has a case thickness of 10mm, which you would expect on a watch with a mecha quartz movement in it. Comes in 3 colours, but I really like the blue. The green is decent, and the black, if I'm honest, is a bit dull. But it does have this really nice fluted dial, fluted bezel. Coming in at £42. I think this is really, really good value. Certainly one that even if you weren't suggesting it, I would probably be thinking about buying. Has good reviews for it as well, so 14 5-star reviews. People clearly enjoy it, although I entirely accept that it's not uncommon for reviews to be paid for. And in terms of the look, well, it has a very classy look to it. It's fairly simple, which I think means that the focus tends to be on the colour and the style. It's not got masses of complications on it, but I think just a good all-rounder. I think quite an impressive looking watch, this one. And I say, for 40 quid, it's kind of hard to argue, and it does fit in very well with the others that we've been looking at in this video. So for me, particularly the baby blue one, I think is one that I would ask you to recommend, but I'm not going to be making your choices for you. And then finally, we have this really interesting Addies Dive GMT. Don't ask me how you do a GMT for less than 50 quid, it's just beyond me. But it has that aluminium look bezel, really nice looking black dial. It's reasonable spec, so it does come with a proper scissor clasp, and as you always expect from Addies Dive, the loom is spectacular. And I hear you screaming, but Mr. Randall, you are cheating. This one is overpriced. We'll come back to that in a minute. So it's a 20mm bandwidth, and the case thickness is just over 13. Again, slightly disappointing that it's hard Lex, but a 39mm dial, and lug to lug of 48mm. So again, it's going to wear really, really well. What I would point out is there is a £4.20 off discount. So therefore, assuming that you grab that discount, this will get this watch in at under 50 quid. And I really like the look of it. So the sense of the dramatic, which kind of flows through from those dark colours against the aluminium bezel, is really, really impressive. It's going to be very, very well loomed. I just like the look of this one. I think it's really interesting. I think it's a decent size as well, so this isn't going to be a wrist monkey. It's not going to hang on there and give you all sorts of problems. I just think for what you're getting here, the only thing I would say is if it was sapphire crystal, it would be absolutely perfect. But it isn't. But it has plenty of anti-reflective coating on it. I just think this is a handsome option. And for the money that you pay for it, I think these are pretty good. So again, I would be happy getting one of these as well. So that's the choices. Please leave a comment telling me which one you think I should buy over the next couple of days, and then I will pick it up in the AliExpress sale.